Hello, my name's Judith Randall from Development Initiatives. We at Development Initiatives believe that we can and must end extreme poverty by 2030. This means that as a first step, no one, anywhere in the world, should be living below the international poverty line of $1.25 a day. If we're serious about ending poverty, we have to move from the vision to a timetabled reality. That means mobilising all resources that can target people in poverty. So what does this mean? It means that every child born today, no matter where they are in the world, will be able to make real choices about their lives and their future as they reach adulthood in 2030. But will they? Today, there are 1.2 billion people living in extreme poverty, most of them in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. Currently, the most optimistic scenario, based on economic growth, will still see over 100 million people left behind. And in the worst case scenario, extreme poverty may even increase in some regions. So what do we need to do to make sure that no one is left behind? Economic growth will play a critical role in reducing poverty, but the data shows that even current patterns of growth will not be enough. Take, for instance, Zambia. Zambia has experienced extraordinary growth between 2002 and 2010, but poverty has actually increased from 64% to 75%. So where economic growth is not enough, we need to first understand the other resources that are available, and then we need to see how they can make the best contribution to ending poverty. Investments to End Poverty maps all resources to developing countries. It makes complicated data simple so we can make better decisions. It explains who spends what where and what developing countries actually receive. So what are the resources that could contribute to ending poverty? First, government spending. Most poor people live in countries with very low government spending per person, nowhere near enough to end poverty. When we look at international flows, we can see that where government expenditure is higher, international flows are also larger and more diverse. But in the poorest countries, where government spending is lowest, aid is still the largest international resource and will be vital for poverty eradication. We believe that every aid dollar could deliver more, but first you have to unbundle global aid. Aid comes in a variety of forms: cash, experts, consultants, advisors, global public goods, commodities like food or spectacles or fertilisers, and some aid is not transferred at all. Instead, it remains in the donor country, paying for things like debt relief, overseas student costs and refugees. Each donor provides a different bundle of aid. For example, 2/3 of Italy's aid stays in Italy. Most of Denmark's aid goes to the recipient country. The bundle that each country receives is also different. If we look at Togo and Afghanistan, both appear equally aid dependent, but they're not. Togo receives most of its aid in the form of debt relief, which doesn't reach the country. Afghanistan has the majority of its aid in the form of cash. By unpacking the aid bundle, we can see the value and potential of its component parts. The data show that we can end poverty, extreme poverty, by 2030. To do that, we have to target aid on the poorest, we have to mobilise all available resources, and we have to get the maximum value out of every dollar. Now just imagine what success looks like. In 17 years, this child will no longer be living in extreme poverty. Every child will be able to live a life full of real choices. And the first step on the path to end poverty will be a reality.